So you've bought Battlefield 1 and you're getting stuck in with it, but you keep asking yourself one question. What's the best gun for medic? And then you try out Scout and you're thinking, what weapon should I use to match my playstyle? Perhaps you dabble with Assault, but you keep wondering what's the easiest way to take out a tank? Well, hopefully I've got you covered with this ultimate class guide. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what weapons in each class are the best for certain situations, and exactly when to use certain gadgets and how effective they are. The goal of this video is to help new players as well as those who are regulars and may still be a bit confused. Battlefield can be a very daunting game as a new player, so hopefully this helps you out. Naturally, I think Assault is the best place to start, so that's what we'll do. For Assault, you've got 3 SMGs and 4 shotguns that you can pick from. That's 7 weapons in total, not including the different variants, but overall right now I probably only use around 4 of those. Let's cover the shotguns first. The 10A Hunter, it's the only shotgun I use right now because admittedly it's insanely good and I think it's better than all the others. It's the daddy of close range weapons and even at medium ranges as well if you get your shot right. For maps like Suez or Argonne Forest, I will usually pick up the Hunter just because the engagement distances are perfect for it. The Automatico SMG is another perfect weapon for the close ranges of Suez and Argonne. It's got a crazy rate of fire, so you can drop enemies extremely fast, and I think really you've got 2 options that are the best here, Storm or Trench. Storm will give you better aimed accuracy, but Trench will give you better hip fire, and honestly you can hip fire for days with this gun anyway, so just pick the type that suits your game style. My preferred though is the Storm. For other maps, if I'm playing Assault, I will tend to use the Hellriegel. Say on a map like Ballroom Blitz for example, when you've got a bit longer engagement distances. It's got fantastic hipfire as well as a good accuracy at close range, and it's got 60 bullets in the magazine, so you can easily take out multiple enemies without reloading. There is only one version of the Hellriegel, so you can't really go wrong. The MP18 is still a fantastic all-around weapon though, and it really comes down to personal preference. The hipfire on the MP18 is more accurate than the Hellriegel, especially on the Trench version, but of course you get a lot less bullets in the magazine. I personally would pick the Hellriegel over the MP18 though. I just think it offers a great balance of everything you need: accuracy, hipfire and magazine size. Now, as I said, there are 3 other shotguns available for the Assault class, and it's not like they're useless, they're good as well, but while the 10A Hunter is so good, it's really impossible for me to suggest using them, even if they are effective at times. Shotguns as a whole I think will probably get looked at soon, and probably change slightly in a new patch. Right, so how about those gadgets? For Assault you've got 4 gadgets: Dynamite, Rocket Gun, Anti-Tank Grenade and Anti-Tank Mine. I will always run anti-tank grenades, they're the huge ones, and then I will pick one of the other 3 to accompany it. More often than not, that's the rocket gun. You get 4 rockets that you can fire, and it gives you the ability to take on a tank at range, something none of the other gadgets offer. Also, if you run over a support player's small ammo pouch, your rockets instantly get resupplied, making them even more useful. Multiple Assault players shooting at a tank at range with the rocket gun can be a real menace. The anti-tank grenades, well, they're a must. That leaves us with the Dynamite and Anti-Tank Mines. Now, the mines deal massive damage and can literally devastate a tank in a second, especially a light tank. If you want to take out a tank but don't want to risk it not driving over your mines on the ground, a cheeky tactic is to actually place a mine down right next to it and then throw explosives near it or fire at it to set it off. This will deal massive damage to a tank and you don't have to risk the tank not driving over it. Of course, that does require you to get close in the first place, which isn't exactly a walk in the park. If that's not your style, then just make sure you put them down on the ground in hard to see places where you know tanks will go, so the edges of flags, say the C flag on Empire's Edge for example. Sneaky places. Dynamite on the other hand is a bit trickier because you've got to get close to use it and it doesn't stick to a tank, instead it will drop down near it, so if you throw it and the tank sees you, it's going to move back, and then if you detonate it, it's no longer going to deal full damage. If you can get 3 full sticks of dynamite on one tank, you're going to deal a solid amount of damage, but it's not that easy to do. Certainly not as easy as it was in Battlefield 4, because in BF4, if you got close to a tank with 2 C4s and got them stuck to the tank, it didn't matter if it drove away. In BF1 you need to be a bit more careful. My ultimate loadout for the Assault class would be Hellriegel, number 3 revolver, anti-tank grenades and rocket gun. I think overall that will give you the best balance of damage and range. Now moving on to the medic class. Well, medic is actually one of my favourite classes to play. And the good thing about it is that there are multiple weapons you can use successfully depending on your playstyle. It's also one of the simplest in regards to gadgets, only giving you a revive syringe and 2 types of healing gadgets and some rifle grenades. Let's start with the weapons. I'd say that Medic has multiple weapons that are effective, and it really comes down to personal preference. The Sei Rigotti Trench can be a fantastic choice because you can put it on automatic fire mode. That makes it very useful up close and even at medium ranges. You get the best of both worlds because you can tap and use the auto fire to let it fire off multiple shots for you. The same for the M1907 Sweeper. One of my personal favourites though is the Auto Loading Extended. It's got a 16 bullet magazine, and although each bullet isn't as powerful as on the other medic weapons, it can be fired very fast and its hip fire up close is fantastic. I use this a lot when I just want to run and gun as a medic on close range maps. After that, I think it comes down to personal preference. The Seb Slader M1916 and Mondragon weapons are very similar in a lot of ways. I love the Mondragon Storm, I just like how it feels, and then you've got the option with the medic weapons to use the Mondragon Sniper or the Seb Slader M1916 Marksman if you want a medic gun with a bit more range. Overall, if I want to get up close, I'll definitely be using the Auto Loading Extended or the Sei Rigotti Trench in auto, or if I want a bit more range, I'll use the Mondragon Storm or Sniper and then the Seb Slader Marksman, usually in that order. So now onto the medic gadgets. You've got a medical pouch and a medical crate. They both have positives and negatives. The pouch can be thrown around really fast and it can heal teammates as they move, so it makes it perfect for running around between flags on Conquest. The medical crate, however, is much better if you want to heal multiple friendlies at once, but of course they've got to be stationary to use it, so there's a bit of a trade-off. I personally run with the pouches because it just fits my style. I can heal friendlies fast and I can heal myself on the move if I need to without slowing down too much. The syringe, of course, a vital tool for the medic. Use it to revive your dead teammates or even kill enemies. The last gadget is the rifle grenade, and that's got 3 versions: HE, Frag and Smoke. I personally have only really used these when I needed to obtain a medal. I don't really find the need to use them most of the time, but they can be useful to hit a group of enemies from afar or clear out a room from a distance. They can also deal damage against vehicles, so if you want to take out light armoured transport vehicles, they will certainly come in handy. Smoke is something that you don't see being used very much, but in truth it could be a fantastic tool for attacking points, especially in operations for example. My ultimate loadout for the medic class would be the Sei Rigotti Trench, the Auto Revolver, medic pouch and medic syringe. Okay then, let's move on to support. Not everyone loves playing support because the weapons just aren't as satisfying or as good as some of the other classes, and some people just don't find it that fun. But there are actually some excellent weapons on support that are fun to use. Out of all of these support weapons, my favourites are the MG15 Storm, the Bar Storm and the Madsen MG Storm. Out of those 3, the MG15 has better accuracy as well as having way more ammo at hand with 100 bullets in the magazine. The BAR on the other hand is really enjoyable to fire, but it's got very little bullets on offer, a meagre 20 in the mag. The Madsen does a bit better though with 31. With the BAR you can almost run around as though you were using a rifle, but you will be reloading regularly, which is a problem, whereas the Madsen will allow you to play in a similar way but with a bit more ammo. The MG15 of course will let you take on more enemies at once because of its magazine size. Sure, there are more LMGs, but I personally would go with one of these 3, especially to start with. There are others of course. The Lewis gun offers up a nice challenge and looks pretty cool. The Lewis low weight is actually really nice to run and gun with. And the Lewis suppressive offers up a nice sized magazine. And then there's the Hoyt low weight. Well, honestly, I'm not sure what that gun does better than any other. I've tried it for a bit now and it just doesn't feel as good to me as the BAR or the MG15 in any aspect. What's crazy is that this gun is also a rank 10 unlock of the support class. Now, moving on to gadgets, you could argue that support is a little light on gadgets. And yes, that's true, but here's what it has. Firstly, we've got ammo packs, just like medic, of course they're very important. It's got small ammo pouches and large ammo crates. Again, small are easy to resupply people on the move, whereas the big crates are much better for resupplying multiple friendlies at the same time. The Limpet Mine is a gadget designed to take out vehicles, but that's not all it's good for. It can take out buildings as well. If you want to use it against a vehicle, you need to get close and throw it. It will stick and detonate after a few seconds. You don't need to do anything further, you just throw and forget. After the last patch, it was also tweaked to make sure that nothing else can set off the mine other than the timer. And then of course there's the mortar, and I would always take the airburst over the high explosive. Airburst is a bit more effective against infantry, and high explosive deals more damage to vehicles. When firing the mortar, wait a few seconds before shots and you'll see the circle on the minimap shrink to a red dot. When you've got that red dot, you know that your shot will be very accurate indeed. Try not to spam fire with the mortar and you can be very effective with it. Lastly, for support, we've got the repair wrench. This is all about team play and helping your friendly tankers to stay alive. I'd say that it isn't as widely used as a repair tool in say BF4, but it can really make a difference to a friendly tank if you prefer to use it. Stationary weapons and doors can also be repaired, so there are plenty of points on offer. My ultimate loadout for the support class would be the MG15 Storm, number 3 revolver, ammo pouch and limpet mine. Last but not least, we've got everyone's favourite class, Scout. There are some fantastic Scout weapons, some with scope, some without, and they're both fairly simple to use but also incredibly satisfying as well. Let's take a look. As a starting sniper, if you want something super effective at mid-range, I would always recommend the SMLE Marksman. It was the weapon of choice during the beta and a fantastic all-around rifle. It's got a pretty close range sweet spot of between 40 and 75 meters, so it's the perfect close range sniper. The infantry version is fun to use and it regains accuracy faster because of its low weight, and the carbine version has better hip fire overall. It's then a toss-up for me between the Russian 1895 and the Gewehr 98. I personally like the sniper variants and they're both extremely similar with almost identical stats. The main difference is being the sweet spot. The Gewehr sweet spot is between 80 to 120 meters and the Russian 1895 is slightly closer at 60 to 100. They can both be used in infantry versions if you want to use them without the scope, and the Gewehr can also be used with a marksman scope if the long range scope isn't your cup of tea. And remember that marksman variants of rifles don't have scope glint, so they can be a bit sneakier to use. The M1903 is the weapon of choice for more long range sniping, and its sweet spot is the largest in the game, but then there are a couple of wildcards, the Gewehr M95 and the Martini Henry. The Gewehr M95 doesn't have a sweet spot and its bullet velocity is pretty slow, but what it does have is a straight pull bolt, essentially. When you scope in and fire, you don't have to unscope to be able to fire again. And this makes firing 2 shots in quick succession very easy, and it gives it a big advantage over some of the other snipers. The Martini Henry on the other hand is kind of like a large musket, almost an elephant gun, and the sound alone is reason enough to use it. From 30 to 80 meters, it's a one shot to the chest, and doesn't it feel good when you land it? I'd say that the Martini Henry is probably the most satisfying gun in the game to use for me, but it doesn't come cheap. You need to be rank 10 in Scout to unlock it. So my personal favourite weapons for the Scout class are the Russian 1895 or Gewehr 98 for medium range, and the SMLE Marksman and M95 for closer engagements, and of course the Martini Henry for extremely close distances if you want to do some aggressive PTFO. Remember that not all snipers need to have scopes, the infantry and trench variants can be just as useful on close range maps. Now, onto the gadgets, and Scout probably has the most gadgets out of all classes, but well, some of them aren't that great. Let's start with the two that I really wouldn't use very much, the Sniper Decoy and the Sniper Shield. The Sniper Decoy is a head on a stick that you put down to trick enemy players. If they shoot it themselves, they'll get spotted, and it's a full outline spot as well, but I just don't find them that useful, and I think that people are clued up enough to realise now that it's a decoy. Of course, sometimes someone could shoot it without really realising, but I find that its use is fairly limited. The shield is something that you don't see being used that much at all. It's a protective shield that can be put down on the ground and lie prone behind, and then there is a small gap you can shoot through at the front. Of course, remember that if you can shoot through it, then people can shoot you through it, although it is a pretty difficult shot to make. The problem is that it really limits your movement, and if you get spotted you lose a lot of that advantage. The other issue is, well, the shield makes it way more obvious that you're there than if you were just hiding behind some cover. Not my most used gadget for sure. The trench periscope on the other hand does have its uses. You can use it to spot enemies from behind full cover, and this can be especially useful on certain maps like San Quentin Scar on Operations for instance. If you're hiding in a trench you can spot enemies for your team without putting yourself at risk. And then we've got K-Bullets. These are an extremely useful scout gadget. Their main purpose is to damage vehicles, and while they will damage tanks, their main damage will be on non-armoured transport vehicles. That being said, a sniper attacking a tank with K-Bullets serves a real purpose. It will actually stop the tank from repairing. So if you're playing as a sniper and you see a damaged tank move back and stop, hit it with some K-Bullets to cancel their repair. You never know, you may even get the kill, which is of course extremely satisfying. Moving on next to the flare gun, possibly the most useful gadget the Scout has. It's got two options, spot flare and flash flare. The spot, as it suggests, spots enemies in a radius when you shoot it up into the air. The flash version will blind enemies for a short amount of time. It can also blind tanks as well, useful for getting out of a jam. As a sniper, I usually use the spot flare. It's just so useful to recon areas before you move in. You can also use it to set fire to enemies and do damage or kill them, or deny them running into a building. And lastly, we've got three versions of the tripwire, HE, gas and incendiary. Tripwires are extremely useful on built up areas of maps to catch players off guard when they're moving into buildings or alleyways on Amiens for example. HE will deal an instant damage explosion, whereas gas and incendiary are about dealing damage over time to a larger area. I personally find the HE to be the best at dealing maximum damage, so it's the one that I would use. My ultimate loadout for the Scout class would be the Martini Henry, the Mars Automatic, K-Bullets and the Spotting Flare. So there we have it, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope that this guide has helped you out. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a comment and thumbs up on the video. That would be much appreciated, as videos like this take a very long time to put together. Once again, cheers for watching guys, subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one.